Welcome back to DR Sports. Some breaking news to get into here, Nick. Remember to like the video, comment with your thoughts on this breaking news story, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I wanted to get your reaction to this one, Nick. Ornstein tweets 10 minutes ago, Arsenal have made an opening offer to sign Declan Rice for West Ham. The formal offer has now gone in, as reported yesterday by David and Fabrizio. But Tim Lewis and Karen Brady have held talks at the PLAGM. So that's the annual general meeting for the Premier League. Edu and Richard Garlick are leading the process for Arsenal. They've obviously had a word with the West Ham representatives at the AGM. Is that a legal thing? Can you talk about players during a meeting? I'm not too sure, but anyway, that's not the biggest piece of news, because we're also hearing, and this is exclusive now, Manchester City are also actively exploring their own approach for Declan Rice. How do you feel about, one, the bid made? We don't know the actual number of the bid yet in terms of the millions offered. However, we are now learning that it isn't just Arsenal in this race, it's Man City as well. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I feel mixed about this, because ultimately you don't want to get into a bidding war with a team like Manchester City. And what's really interesting is they've had a really good strategy of not buying £100 million players, but buying 3 or 4 £40 to £60 million players in seasons gone by. Then they go and spend a lot of money on Jack Grealish this season now. Looking like, this Declan Rice price, we're looking at 70 to 90 million, somewhere in that range. That's typically outside of the world of what they would normally go and spend on a player. But I'm not too concerned for a number of reasons. First of all, I'm on record as saying that Caicedo is my first choice as a defensive midfielder. But if Arteta wants Rice for leadership and soft skills, leadership qualities, experience, etc., then that's fine. But when you're going for top players, you've got to expect competition. We saw competition from Chelsea for Mudryk, a player that had never played, had like 8 Champions League appearances or something like that, 1 breakthrough season and £100 million. Caicedo, 1 breakthrough season, 80, 90 million pounds. So I'm not overly concerned. It's open in talks. They are probably going to track the situation. Everybody knows Arsenal don't like to part with big money, and maybe they'll be waiting in the wings to prey on that. And another thing they could be doing is trying to push Arsenal to spend more money than they otherwise normally would, so that that's less money that they can spend in other places and keep them weaker. But there is a sense of, and people are going to call me arrogant, and that's fine, there is a sense of confidence I take from that Chelsea saw we were looking at Mudryk and they said, we've got to put a stop to this. Yep. City now seeing that we're looking at Rice and think, okay, is there any way that we can get in there? People know that, it's not the whole Arsenal were back, but people know that we are a very competitive side. We don't have the silverware to back that statement yet, but people know we're a competitive side and they don't want to see us get in our top players.
Some more breaking news for you. We're hearing that West Ham have rejected the opening offer from Arsenal for Declan Rice. Arsenal had indicated they are willing to meet the asking price of over 100 million, but their initial bid is believed to be much lower, trying to lowball it.
It's just, well, first of all, classic Arsenal. And second of all, you cannot lowball an offer if you've actually said that you're happy to. Imagine you go to buy a car.
That's just a waste of time.
You go to buy a car and the guy says it's 25k, and you say, I'm happy to pay 25k, but will you take 17? No, you've just said, if you said I can't pay 25,
shooting yourself in the foot.
You shot yourself in the foot completely. It doesn't make any sense. Like I say, the price, for me, I know this isn't a Rice versus Caicedo video, but the price of Rice is a concern for me. And Rice and Caicedo, that'd be £180 million on 2 players. We've just never seen Arsenal spend money like this before. And if we do spend this type of money, we will have to have some silverware at the end of the season.
For sure. There's a lot of moving parts to this deal. We should remember that Kovacic has gone to City. Now they're also looking to bring in Declan Rice. What does that mean for the likes of Calvin Phillips? What does that mean for Bernardo Silva, who's looking to go to PSG? A lot of moving parts on this one. And obviously Brighton will have some part to play in this as well with Caicedo. But as things stand right now, Arsenal's first bid rejected by West Ham. They, again, according to this TalkSport report, they have indicated they are willing to meet the asking price, but their initial bid is much lower for some reason, which I don't understand. But does that now give that lack of seriousness maybe from Arsenal in the opening exchanges? Does that give Man City the the right to actually go and win this race now. 'Cause they do have the money. They could go right. There's
yeah, but that's
Bosch.
what I was going to say. I don't think that's the case because Man City are always able to do that. They can gazump, as Laurie would put it, any deal, any offer, any time, especially against us. We lowball every first offer. It's like how we say hello. Do you know what I mean? That's how we do business. We always have. And I think Rice is from what we've been hearing since last season, Rice is pretty committed. And we put a lot of onus on the player to go where they want to go and take ownership of their own career, unless extenuating circumstances like Mudryk, the offer doesn't come in. And also, if you're Declan Rice, I think Man City have just won a treble. That is obviously very appealing. But from a playing time perspective, he's a regular starter now for England, which he wasn't a couple of seasons ago. Now he is. Arsenal's the perfect team to go and deploy that. They have arguably one of the better DMs in the league in Rodri. They do have a capable understudy in Calvin Phillips. Like you said, there's Kovacic coming in, which would probably be more of an 8 than an out-and-out 6. But there are other people there that play that position. With us looking to get rid of Partey, with us looking to potentially get rid of Xhaka, Declan Rice would come in and be the real driving force of our team in the engine room. And so you've got to be thinking it's a more attractive prospect from a footballing perspective in terms of minutes. But obviously Arsenal have to meet the asking price first so we don't have another repeat of the Mudryk situation.
Yeah, I mean, good news for Arsenal is that they've made their formal bid for their man, Declan Rice. They want him, but the bad news is the first bid has been rejected. And the even worse news is now the real big boys, Man City, are also in this race as well, looking to bolster their midfield. And if they get Rice, then we might as well all pack up and go home.
But if they really wanted Rice that badly, they would just go and sign him. They wouldn't be monitoring the situation of Arsenal. They have the power to just go in and take the player. If they really, really, like I say, if it was a desperate situation, if Rodri had like a long-term injury or something like that, they could easily go in and just pick him up. So, I think that this is some level of gamesmanship. I think a little bit. People know that we're in the market for 2 midfielders. Maybe if we can overspend on one, we've got less buying power to spend on another.
Yeah, I mean, there's another way you can look at this if you're an Arsenal fan as well. If City are going in for Rice, does this now mean that Caicedo might be freed up for Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Caicedo for me, statistically, stylistically, he is the 6 that we need to replace Partey. There's conversations happening amongst Arsenal fans. What are we doing with Rice and Caicedo? Are they both coming in as 6s? Are we looking at Rice being more advanced than an 8? We've seen him play there for England, more of a transitional player. We haven't seen it enough at West Ham, but people really believe that he can really be that box-to-box player. I don't know. I have no idea. I have not complete faith in the manager. I have a lot of faith in the manager. But this is rarefied air.
Got to get this right.
This is rarefied air for Arteta.
Yeah.
He's never been at this level. He's never been spending this type of... But up until now, his marquee signing is Thomas Partey, and that was 45 million release clause, deadline day. In terms of... and then Trossard and Jorginho, that was a decent January window. But in terms of the 70s, 80s, 90s, big name players, Champions League, he's not been here before. And our club has not been here for a very long time. Edu hasn't been here before. We've got to get this right.
Yeah, this is a real chess move, and the winner will definitely go into the season on a high. Just to round it up for you then, Alex Crook from TalkSport, the senior sports reporter, says that West Ham have rejected the opening bid for Arsenal. Not unusual to lowball with first offers, and the Gunners have indicated they are willing to go to 100 plus. But as Alex alluded to on TalkSport, Manchester City also lurking, not in the background, in the foreground now, because they've also thrown their hat in the ring for Declan Rice. So where does he end up, people? Will it be Arsenal? Will it be Manchester City? Let us know in the comments where you think he should end up. But we'll be back with more later on. Take care.